Hey, and welcome to Mom Talk. I'm Jen.
I'm Tanya.
And this is episode 8. We are very excited. Tonight is our first solo night. Normally, my husband is in the house, and he's our technical support, and our producer, and our child care rearer. And so I have been soloing it tonight at bedtime, so we don't know what tonight's episode will look like.
We have background music that involves, like, keeping the beat, like a solid banging.
Banging is fun.
From a 3, almost 4-year-old who really doesn't want to be in bed. And we have a really good mic that will definitely pick up those background beats, shall we say.
Yes. So,
but that is what it is. We're moms, and we have to make the best of it and keep going forward. So what are you drinking?
I am drinking Coney Island caramel coffee.
Nice.
Or something like that.
Cool.
It's very good. It's very different from the normal caramel coffees that I drink. I really like it. It's it actually tastes like a caramel candy.
Nice.
It's good.
Nice. I don't know the brand. You just one-upped me on that. But it's creme brulee, which...
Is it disappointing?
Okay, so it smells very good, and I was excited to taste it, but it's not as flavorful as I thought.
Oh, that's sad. I have a creme brulee coffee coming from Amazon. I'm not sure what brand it is.
I'll have to try that.
It's not a decaf, but it's really good.
This is not decaf.
I really like it.
We probably need to get you more decaf. Yeah. So, I have TikTok
video
ready
for me
for this video.
All right. So,
we remembered these this week.
Headphones this week. Yes.
Apparently, they were right beside us last week, but and they're all tangled. That is perfect. Here we go.
Mom Life.
We're getting this. No, Mom Life would be like gum on it as well. It'd be like...
It's so true.
Gum or like sticky. Why does everything have to be sticky? Hands.
I routinely,
everything.
when I sit down at the piano,
really dislike that.
I have to sit down with a baby wipe.
Yeah.
Because the keys are so sticky. It's awful.
You ready?
All right.
Hold it.
It appears something was going on here, but I'm not sure what. Hey, babe.
Yeah.
What you doing?
Oh, well, it's pretty dirty out here. I didn't know, and so I'm just cleaning it up.
What were you doing?
I was doing the dishes.
Good.
Yep.
They look
and then
great.
I threw something away, and it was full, so I took the garbage out.
Good job.
The garbage can.
That's amazing.
And then I saw that it was dirty, so then I did that.
Great.
Oh.
So, 3 projects. They'll get done. When ADHD says I can, they'll get done.
Cupboard doors open and everything, right? Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't that good?
I'm half done so many projects, and how did I get here? What was I doing?
Yeah.
And that's why, lists are definitely my friends, because if I don't get a job done, it's still on the list. And I'll be like, oh yes, I have to come back to that. Whereas if I'm just keeping it all in my head, I often will forget things that I started and just didn't finish.
I just thought that was perfect. Just this is really dirty. Well, what were you doing? And I love how she's knows this about him, right?
I love how she wasn't negative. Well, the bag's not done, and the dishes. It was good. Good.
Yeah, it was just
I'm
funny.
not good at that.
Yeah, but I just love that. Well, I started the dishes, and then I put something in the garbage, and it was full, so I took it out. Saw that was dirty. I'm that's very...
One thing leads to the next, which leads to the next.
I think that's very true. But do you know what's interesting? I don't know, a week or so ago, I think Scott maybe put it to our group. There was a TikTok about knowing you having like ADHD of like feelings of different like cups or like a fork, like if the fork doesn't feel right, like, or you only use a specific spoon, just like or like how it feels.
Yes.
And
which is so him.
Do you find that? Because I do.
Oh, really?
But I don't feel... I don't know if I...
He's so particular, Scott is.
Like, there's forks in my house that if that's the fork, I won't use it and I'll put it back. Or, like, a spoon, I'm very particular.
Yeah,
I'm very feeling, like, mugs. I use the same mug that I prefer at home.
I have my favorite mugs, but it's usually just because they're big. And I like a big, heavy mug.
Yeah,
but
it's, like, thickness of this and... whatever. So yeah, there's definitely things that but as soon as it was the fork and spoon stuff, I'm like, that's so me. Like,
no, that's...
I cannot eat. There's one fork in particular I cannot
Why don't you
eat.
just get rid of it?
Well, other people don't have a problem with it. They can dirty it. And
Scott doesn't like using the big forks.
I don't either.
And he doesn't like a heavy
fork.
Yeah,
Same.
Yeah.
I don't like the heavy.
None of that bothers me at all. But I am very particular about my clothing. Like, I hate tags. I hate things not sitting right and pulling in different ways. Like the way it feels against my skin. That is a big thing to me.
Yeah.
But I have different, like my daughter is also like that, but I have different hang-ups than her.
Right.
So sometimes I don't always understand hers right away because they're not the same as mine.
Right. I get that. Yeah. I just found it interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
So they are saying that's kind of ADHD related?
That was that video. I'm sure there's lots of other things
sensory
that are
issues
sensory and things connect,
right?
They
permeate through all of mental health.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, yeah. So Easter's coming up. Very quickly.
It is.
It is. What do you like to do for Easter?
Try to remember to get my kids treats sometimes. So, like, our Easter is very revolved around church. And so, but for our family, we do try to do, like, an egg hunt or something.
Do you go outside or just keep it inside?
I think one year we did it outside, or we did a combination. I think it just depends on the weather.
Canada!
But yeah, so we try to do an egg hunt. We're not very, like...
Do you buy the plastic eggs, or do you just have,
we just the chocolate eggs.
And then go...
But we're not very consistent on, like, the time. Like, if it's, like, Sunday afternoon, or, like, it doesn't
have to be first thing in the morning.
No, or if it's, like, this year, we'll probably actually do Easter Monday, because Brian works the weekend. So we'll do that. So it's not very particular. And we... hide them, like, two in each spot, so each kid gets two, but I have to write it down because I forget, and I don't want to find, like, melted or gross chocolate later.
I love that as a kid. My mom would hide everything. I actually don't even think she would hide them in pairs. I do, or not pairs, but, like, now it'll be threes, right?
Yeah.
But we never, like, every year we missed something.
Yeah.
And it was usually something around the piano. And so, like, months later, I'd be practicing my piano. And
then you'd find it.
I'd go, like, open the lid of the piano bench, and I'd be like, Mom, there's full-size chocolate in here!
That's awesome.
I'd be, like, so excited. I love that so much.
But we don't do, like, we don't give our kids a lot of sugar. So it's really, like, we still have their Christmas chocolate that, like... So Halloween happens, and they have that. Then Christmas happens. I dump the Halloween candy out. They get Christmas candy, and then it cycles through the holidays of, like, okay, dump it, and it never gets to the bottom.
Mine do, because my kids wake up in the morning, jump the baby gate, and steal all the candy first thing in the morning. So they are coming to school nice and wired. Like,
you're welcome.
They've learned to, like, get the chairs out and climb up high.
Using their resources.
They're brilliant children.
Yeah, that's awesome. But we also... we're inconsistent if we, like, get a new outfit or a stuffed animal or something like that. And I try to do, like, some dollar store stuff versus all just chocolate. So we don't do a lot of chocolate. I'm so boring.
Okay.
So yeah, but I might get them like a toy from the dollar store or a car and hide that or something like that.
Cool. In the past, I've tried to get books. I didn't this year. It only just occurred to me as we were talking that I used to get a book.
I also have not purchased anything yet, so yeah.
It occurred to me when I was doing one of my Walmart orders.
Yes.
So I placed an order with a bunch of stuff. So I have some stuff here. But yeah, I learned kind of early on that my parents and my in-laws like to get a lot of things, and so I have been trying to scale back because I want to produce the kind of Easter that I had with my parents. But then when I do that, have way too much. So I tried to scale mine back because I don't want to rob my parents and my in-laws of
and it's also that
experience.
much more stuff in your house and all that kind of thing as well,
and
right?
so like my in-laws love to buy the kids a new Easter outfit. So
that's nice.
I just that's
nice.
I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
So now that they just have different traditions than I had as a kid. So we've typically done them first thing in the morning. My in-laws
on Sundays.
Yes.
So you'll be late for church.
Well, in the past we've gotten really up early. This year's a whole new ball game. 4 kids, and we have like Easter productions that are going to be going on at our church that we're all involved in. So I don't even have a clue. We might just tell them we'll do it Monday, like you said.
It's nice if you can enjoy it, right? And you don't want it to be a stressful thing. Last year, I was just thinking, was COVID, so you guys did yours outside as well, right?
I don't know. All the years blend together. But
I remember you video calling and you were outside.
Maybe that was last year. Yeah, whenever it's nice, we have tried to do them outside.
And maybe I haven't. It's just I did that through you. No, I don't know. I think we have, but yeah, it's really busy. This week is busy.
I think this week is busier than anything I've ever done for Christmas.
I feel like it's very close for me from the Christmas thing.
10 days in a row.
Yeah, that was March break too, I think, though. It's very busy, and it's good. It's been neat because Jen and I have, played together and sang together for a long time, and we're worship leaders at our church, so we sing songs and are in charge of that. But then Jen was saying, she misses just playing along and not always having to sing as well as play. Because you can't focus on it as well that's typically what I do, but it's nice to be able to focus on just playing. And she missed it. And I remember that a few years ago.
I can do more stuff when I'm not splitting my attention between singing and playing.
And I remember a few years ago, I was a part of the Easter thing, and there was a couple songs that I just was able to play the piano, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So with this coming up, we're through chatting, and she said maybe I could be a part of this and just play. And you've really enjoyed it.
I really have. Really
and we've spent a lot of time on this for practice. Yesterday we were practicing for 5 or more hours, and today was 4.5 hours, I think. But it was really cool because we were able to
I'm playing 3 pianos, guys.
Yeah,
3
it's pretty
pianos.
exciting. So she has a keyboard stacker, and the grand piano. But it was nice because we were really able to take our time of what we're doing, the build-ups of the song, and put that effort in.
Who's doing what, where this switch happens, everything.
And the strings versus grand and whatever. Versus we can't always do that on a regular week for church. So it's been really good, challenging to trying to work around.
I can't play a B flat minor chord.
And trying, and we all have our expectations and emotions and everything, but it's been really good and
really good.
And as long as I can remember what we're doing, I have a million notes on my page. I just have to remember to read those before we start the song. Would be incredibly helpful. But I think it'll be good. And then it's the balance. So Brian said, and even after March break, I had been really busy with work and stuff. And then the week after, I think the Thursday, Friday, I didn't do much. Like, I didn't do much of anything.
Yeah.
And Brian has already said to me, okay, this week is going to be extremely busy, and we know that. We've been a part of ministry and things for so long. There's weeks where you just tunnel vision. This is going to be insane. But he's like, next week there has to be at least a day or two where you're not doing anything.
In addition to Easter Monday.
Yes. Having a day for myself. Like, which would mean just like watching a show or something, right?
Yeah.
Like just being able to have chill time. So I think that balance is really important.
Yeah.
And can be tricky to find.
So tricky, but it's nice, like, with you, just like, you're just at the beginning of the crazy busy week, and so already preparing yourself for what your downtime looks like, I think is a really helpful thing to have that plan, whereas sometimes I'm not good at that, where I will go through the busy time, and I know in my head, well, I need downtime afterwards, but then I come out of one cycle, and I just throw myself into another cycle.
And that's a challenge.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Brian keeps me accountable for that, because the flip side to that is that I will crash and then I will struggle mentally.
Yeah.
And that's not great.
We can't have that.
Not good. So it was funny this week, we were talking about Easter, and Mike is always like, I know what Easter is and whatever. And so we were driving, he's like, I just have a question. Like, why every year after year, does Jesus keep dying on the cross? So it was just like, why does he keep doing that if he knows it's going to happen? Like, why
does he think that Jesus gets bored every year?
I don't know, but just the way, like, and just that, like, year after year, does Jesus die on the cross? Like,
that's good.
It was just that, as if he was thinking, like, what is wrong with him for keep putting himself in that situation that he's, like, dying? I don't know.
Can't you learn?
Yeah, right? Like, so we talked about that, and it was very, very funny. Cadence and I both really enjoyed that.
That's good. Even, yeah.
That's
funny.
She's like, Micah, he doesn't die every year. We remember that he dies every year and that he rose again. So, but it was also great because it was piggybacking on, like, I know all about Easter. Like, I know what it is. It's about Jesus dying every single year. Like, it was
what?
Yeah, right.
What is? Never mind. Oh goodness.
Yeah, anyways. it was pretty good. But so we had a comment this week about just consistency for, like, grandparents and, like, home rules, mom and dad rules versus grandparents, and grandparents trying to be supportive but having their own way to do things.
And how do you do that, right? Because it's
how do you navigate that?
It can be really difficult to just, for me to say to my parents or my in-laws, okay, you have to do everything like this because this is the way I do it, and that's not going to work, right? And so how do we kind of navigate and negotiate that together?
I think there's, like, I know there's certain things, right? So we've talked about, like, things that we've done as was okay for us to do as a kid, but is not now, like, even legally with car seats and different things like that. So there's things like that are just like, this is the way it is.
Yep.
For me, that was like bumper pads on the crib. It's like, that's just not happening. No matter how cute they are, even though my mother-in-law or my mom is like, what's the issue? That's not happening. But there's lots of room, I think, like, for our kids, we will often say, like, I'm not grandma. Grandma's not me. So there's going to be things that grandma does, and you can do that with grandma. There's going to be things that I do that you can do with me. And my mom has adopted that as well.
That's nice.
That, like, okay, mommy lets you do that, but I don't feel comfortable with that, or we're not doing that because you're with grandma. It's the same with, like, when I've supplied. I always start off in the morning, like, am I Mrs. Ryan? No. Is Mrs. Ryan me? No. We're going to do things differently, and we go over, like, what's a nice way to say, well, Mrs. Ryan usually does this, And I say, then I'll give either two answers. I'll be like, oh, thank you for letting me know. Or, okay, she does it that way, but today we're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
And it's kind of setting that up, and it's the same with kids.
I feel like it's such an important concept for kids to understand. I like, when I was a kid, I remember hearing people talking a lot about, I guess they didn't use the word authenticity, but like not wearing a different hat in different contexts. And as a kid, what I was hearing...
Different personas or whatever.
Well, when I was a kid, I was hearing this through the church. And so what they were trying to imply was that I shouldn't be Christian in the church and then go to school and then not be Christian. Like, I should be Christian everywhere. But I didn't understand that. And I really, like, struggled trying to process that because I was like, you should be different in different situations. Not every situation warrants the same behavior, the same action, the same dress code. Like,
I think it's character. So your character and integrity should be consistent.
Yeah.
Right? But your actions or like how you respond to certain situation or what the rules are or boundaries for certain things, I feel like they can change. And I think kids get that.
And I think it's really important to get that, right?
Yeah.
Like even simple things like, well, we run in the gym, but we don't run in the halls, or we shout outside, but we don't shout in the classroom.
Right.
Like,
yeah. So I think that's completely,
and so it's relatable for grandparents.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really try to do this similar thing, maybe not the same language, but like, who's in charge? Grandma's in charge. So if grandma says no, it's no.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to...
Yeah. But it is always nice when grandparents do their best to be supportive in your choices. And I know that we, like, my parents and my in-laws are awesome at that. And it's neat, too, to see, like, things like our kids don't have a lot of sugar. But Micah doesn't affect him as much. Cadence, you give her sugar, it's like 20 to 30 minutes, and she is gone. And I see that, especially like my parents are seeing that as well, and seeing that, okay, this is like, it's not even just like, okay, she's really hyper, but then she crashes and she's emotional and she's having a hard time listening or making good choices. But I'm like, say if I give her sugar and then 45 minutes later she's not listening and making good choices, and I'm getting upset with her, but really it's connected because she's like, her body is just like, bzzz, like, and and we let her have sugar. It's certain times. You've also educated her to be aware of how it affects her body, because I know, like, she'll be at our house and we're all having something and she'll say, can I have that? And you'll say something like, do you think you can handle that? And she'll say, well, maybe I'll have like a little bit or half that. And I really think that's cool. And she also knows her limit. Like, she'll say, okay, that's too sweet, I'm done. And then our other rule for Micah or her is, if you're having sugar, you have a water bottle. So, and they're I'm just like, drink your water, get that flushed out. And that seems to really help. Like, if we don't have the water, it's tricky. But like last night we had birthday cake, and it was ice cream cake, and it was closest to bedtime, which usually, again, we don't do. But they got their water, and so every few bites I kept telling them to drink water, and we were okay for bedtime. That was awesome. Like an hour and a half later. So the water was
a huge help.
Really, really helpful. So having those tricks in place, but
that's really cool. Yeah, and it just takes time, and kind of experimenting, right? With where we fail, they fail, we learn from our mistakes, and
exactly,
work together.
It's nice to have the support, though, for sure. And to have understanding. Of course my parents or my in-laws aren't going to do things the way I do. We're different people. It's not going to be, and I don't want that. I want my kids to experience people other than me. And so very fortunate for that. So we really appreciate that people comment, even if it was my mom. Thanks, Mom. We appreciate people commenting and letting us know where you're at and what your plans are for Easter, what you do, traditions.
What do you guys do for Easter? Do you do a hunt? Do you go to church? Do you go for a walk or a hike? Fireworks for Easter?
Maybe.
Tell us.
Like, I don't know.
So, like this video, subscribe,
Yes.
and we will see you next week for episode 9.
Bye.